Well, welcome. I'm here with Open to Export and UK Trade and Investment, and as you were saying, basically what I do is help companies to export online, as simple as that. So it's trying to go international online and look at that. So I'm going to run you through some slides, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a live demo. It's always a bit dangerous to do those, isn't it, and things like this, but we'll give it a go. It's a good internet connection and everything, and I'll be looking for volunteers. So if you want to see if your website is visible internationally, you can volunteer for that. So how many of you are on Twitter here? Most of you, I would imagine, giving there. Well, if you want to do some tweeting, then go ahead. We've got Open to Export here, and we've got the UKTI London South East one here, and then our Grow Global one there. And we use the hashtag export online. So we're always putting facts and figures and things and masterclass snippets out there, so feel free to go on to there and have a look. So what are we going to talk about? I'm going to talk a little bit about the international web opportunity, because I know a lot of you are obviously already selling online in the UK, so why should you go international? The next thing is, are you visible internationally? That's my little online demo that I'm going to do. Then when we've looked at that, I'm going to tell you what the options are for an online strategy internationally, so that you'll actually know how to do this. And I'll give you a little case study run through to show one of our clients that's actually done this, which is quite good to have a look at. We'll then talk at further support, because basically UK Trade and Investment is part of the government, and they really want you to export internationally because it's good for the country and it's good for you. So we'll tell you about what support they can actually give you. And then we'll take some questions at the end if you've got some time. So what I wanted to know, first of all, how many of you are running your websites off .co.uk domain names? Yeah, there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of you, okay. How many of you are doing it off a .com? Okay, that's good news. That's really good for going international, okay. How many of you would say that you've got international content on your website? Anything from like, +44 on your telephone numbers, saying that you've got international delivery, things like that. Oh, not so many. Okay, a couple over there, that's brilliant. How many of you would say you've got localized content, like you set a part of your website up, say, for the USA or for, I don't know, for Australia or for France? Yeah, you sort of reluctantly say. Okay. How many of you got multilingual content, something in another language? Yeah, brilliant. Well, some of you are the same company here, so I know you. So I'm going, they're so cool down this front row. How many of you got local country domains? I mean, like a website dedicated to France, .fr or something like that. Anybody? Apart from you lot down here. Yeah, at the back there? You've got one? How many of you think you've got like basic search engine optimization on your website? You're being found and you're getting sales and things. A few. People are always a bit nervous because they always think I'm going to tell them that actually you haven't. But how many multilingual out of the few of you that have that? Have you optimized your website for your other languages? No, not sure about that. Okay. Google Analytics. Have most of you got Google Analytics or some way of telling, which visitors are coming? Because that's really good, because you can have a look for your international ones there. And how many of you are running e-commerce systems in the room here? Two or 3 or 4 of you. And how many out of those ones, how many of you are already getting international orders through? Brilliant. Okay, so we've got some people that are already on the way, which is always really, really good. So, what is the international web opportunity? Well, this is a bit of a long quote, but it encapsulates everything really you need to know about it. December was like a bumper year, a bumper month for online, and especially internationally. And so many retailers did really, really well in the UK, and this is why. So you can see that the growth rate here was about 18%, and the different figures are quoted, but 18 to 20% growth last year on online sales, which is absolutely amazing when retail generally is growing at about 3 or 4%. So it's a massive step up in your business if you do that. And this one surprised me, but if you see here, it says 1 in 5 non-food items were bought online. I mean, I was just still quite stunned, even though I work with this all the time. So, you know, people are really, really sort of moving on to online, and we've seen that move both online and internationally. And then if you have a look here, it says, you know, it's been the fastest increase. So it's really, really changing now. You know, people are realizing that online is a route to market internationally, and, you know, that you can, even in the UK, get a lot more business and, you know, improve your businesses through that. And this quote here is from the British Retail Consortium, and they're saying that one reason they've seen this is people are actually investing in their websites. And they're also investing in their mobile websites as well. So, you know, it's a really, really good time to actually take advantage of this. And again, it's another really long quote, but you really can't afford not to do this, because what they're saying is internationally that it's going to grow 7-fold online international e-commerce. I mean, it's just astounding, and that's by 2020. So that's, you know, it's really, I know the years are passing by. It's really only like 5 or 6 years within sort of the length of your 5-year plans and things like this. So that's the potential. But it's actually quite good news for us here in the UK, because we are one of the most advanced e-commerce economies. So if you get it right now, then if you try and go international later on, then, you know, you're going to be in a really good position and be able to compete online internationally. So now is the time to start doing this. And again, you know, they're saying here that it is a little bit complex, but you've got lots of other people in the room here that can actually help you on that journey. So what is it then about international? Now, there are 7 billion people, probably a few more now, because it clicked over sort of last year, in the world. So now you imagine, in the UK there's about 50 odd million. So you imagine if you could replicate just a tiny, tiny part of your business in another country. Up here I've got listed all the top 20, I think it is, countries by GDP, by gross domestic product. So these are countries that can actually afford to buy your products and services. Okay, so you imagine I've highlighted there United Kingdom. Say you just did like 5% of your business in one of these other countries, or even 10% of your business, that would have a real impact on your bottom line. So think about the opportunity that you've got there. And as you can see here, traditionally when people are talking about exporting, what they often think of, oh yeah, that web thing, you know, it's US or it's UK, it's Europe. But actually most of the internet users are actually in Asia. So, you know, don't forget that if you are trying to export, that perhaps, you know, you might think traditionally of going to, say, France or Ireland or the USA, that actually it could be that Asia is a place to go if you're going online. Okay, and if you look down here, then Europe and North America, you'd probably expect that to be there. And then all of these other regions of the world, you know, Latin America and Africa, they're all coming online really, really fast, you know, like massive, massive growth. But a lot of them aren't coming online, you know, like on a laptop, a lot of us use, they're coming online on mobiles. So it's absolutely imperative now, really, to have your website to be what we say is responsive, so that it displays properly on, you know, tablets and on mobile smartphones. Okay? Now, everybody says to me, oh, we do all our business in English. And I'm like, yeah, fine. You know, you can do your business in English, and there are still, the British Council says 1.75 billion people out of those 7 billion people who speak English, so you can have a really good business just by doing business in English. But what you have to think about is that Chinese is just about to overtake English as the most popular language on the web. Now, you imagine if you were faced with a Chinese website that had no English on there or anything, what would you do? Would you buy? Unless you spoke Chinese, obviously. Would you buy? Probably not, you know? So this is what we're starting to think about is, you know, where can we get all these extra customers from? And then, you know, don't forget, you know, Spanish, Japanese, Portuguese, German, Arabic, you know, there are a lot of other languages there, and that's the order of their popularity on the web. So why should we internationalise our websites, and particularly our e-commerce systems? Well, if you look at the stats here, 70% of online searches are not in English. So if you've only got your website in English, you're already discounting 70% of the traffic that you might be able to get. If you've got those customers to your website, then they're 4 times more likely to buy from you if the website is in their language. Okay? And also they will stay twice as long, so you've got more opportunity to actually convert them and get them to do whatever you want them to do, to buy or to download or to interact and to call with you. And some new research here from the European Union also says that 90% of internet users in Europe actually search in their own language first. So if somebody speaks, you know, even say from the Nordic countries where people actually speak good English, they are still tend to search in their own language first. So by having it in another language, you can get that competitive advantage because you can get to those customers and hook them in to your business online first. So, how does the international web work? Well, you've got here, around the world, everybody uses Google. It's like 75–80% of the world use Google. Okay, but it's not google.co.uk or google.com. It will be their local version of Google. So in France, for example, they'll be on google.fr. In Germany, they'll be on google.de, DE for Germany. Yeah, have you got it? So in Australia, it'll be google.com.au. There are, if you're going for China or for Russia, there's Baidu and Yandex. So they're specific to those countries, and you can see, but in relation to the traffic from Google, and then there is this, sort of Yahoo, Bing thing still going on, and in some countries it is, it is still bigger. Like the US, there's still quite a lot of people who still use Yahoo. So it is worth, keeping up with that on there. And this is what, just to show you, there are so many different Googles out there. Anybody just watched Sochi or the London Olympics? You see all the people going around with all the flags from all the different countries. Well, there's nearly as many Googles. And then some of them, as you can see here, are actually in different languages. Like in South Africa, down over there, there's like 5 or 6 different languages that it's available in. So we start to think about, well, the internet is actually, sort of quite a complicated thing. So I was going to do a little test now, saying, are you visible on the international web? Who wants to be a guinea pig? You're like, yes, please. What's your company's website? 24/7 Homebrew. Is that like a .com, did you say? 24/7.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah, is that coming up?
Yeah. 7.
Homebrew. If you can see there, we're in google.co.uk and you've come up. That's great. You're a UK business, you'd expect it to be coming up on here. Now what we're going to go in and have a look at here is up here. This is the bit that oh, that's great. Yeah, if you search tools. Yeah, if you click onto search tools there and then you come down over here, it says any country. And this is the bit that most people miss. Okay, because you don't sort of know it's there. Why would you click on all of this? And can you see at the moment, we're still in google.co.uk, it's saying any country, so at the moment it's looking at the whole of the Google database, and it's picking up your company there. Now, if you click onto country, the UK, on there, okay, it's still coming up, because you are a UK-based business, you're probably hosted here, you've got UK addresses, there's lots of things telling Google you're a UK business. Right, now what we want to do is, if you click onto the next window that we've got open there, can you see we're going to go on a tour to Australia, www.google.com.au. Okay, so we're still in Google, but we're in the Australian version. This is what they will be sent to. So we do the same. You can do the same, put 24/7 Homebrew in there. Okay, so we come up. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And when you go and look, anybody who goes in and looks at their Google Analytics, you'll get like 20 people from one country and perhaps 30 from another, but really low volumes compared to how many coming to your site, say for the UK. That's how they come to you. So at the moment we're searching the whole of the Google database again, and you're coming up. Now, if we go and do the same, search tools, we've got this any country again, and we go country Australia, you've got. Okay, you're completely invisible on there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why some of these marketplaces, LinkedIn, some of these other things that you can get on are really, really helpful international. But what we need to do is ensure that if somebody has those settings on in Google, that you are actually visible. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to go to Google France, and we've got it in French. We're going to do exactly the same test here, so if you can put them back in, thank you. Okay, and again, because we've got it on the global settings, you are showing up, which is good. Now, if we do the same, outil de recherche is the same as search tool. The button's always there, so you can test whatever your target market or wherever you're trying to go. So we've got Pays France, so all the countries, and it's also looking now, Google, for languages. So it's now looking for two things. It's looking for the country, and it's looking for the language, okay? So if we go back, yeah, so if you click it onto there like you've done, you've got Pays France, again, you disappear. Because you've got no pages dedicated to France, and you haven't got a local domain, you know, like the 24/7homebrew.fr. So that's why Google can't find you. So again, if you do that and put page en français, you're not showing up, but that's because you don't have any pages in French. So it's all sort of quite logical, really, once you understand that that's what Google's looking for. And why is it looking for that? Well, the reason it's looking for that is it wants to give you the most relevant results, doesn't it? Okay? Wherever you are, whichever language you speak. So that's why it's looking for that. So what we need to do is help Google by setting up and giving it the pages it wants. Pages dedicated to a country or pages dedicated to a particular language. And that's what we need to do to then bring traffic from those local Googles to our websites here. Okay? Thank you so much. So you can see now what Google's trying to do, and that's why we were saying not only is it helpful for users to have it into another language, it's actually good for the search engine optimization. And we've had clients that have done this and started working in, like within a year, they've obviously had somebody, you can't just sort of learn how to do it, you have to actually implement it, but like within a year they've gone from having like one inquiry on their website to getting 70% of their business through international and online. So, it can really, really make a difference. As you can see, because like I said at the beginning, you're replicating what you're doing in the UK in all these other markets and attracting people in. So this is I think it's still quite a sobering thing. Google says they answer over 1 billion inquiries a day in 181 countries and 146 languages. So if you only have it focused at one country and in one language, then you're missing out on all of that opportunity. So that's what we're talking about. So, what can we do about it? We've had one solution, from you over there, which is a great idea. And this is, I call it a journey. You can't go out and be present in 200 odd countries, straight overnight. You'll drive yourselves crazy. But what I say to do is, take a journey through this. And what we start off doing is by getting our website right in English. There's no point taking your message and your business and everything internationally if you haven't got a world-class, well-designed, well-structured, well-optimized website within the UK. So that's always your starting point, has to be your starting point. Then I say go to this next stage here, which is what I call an international website, still in English. So what I'm talking about here is, what I was saying is, if you've got testimonials or case studies or certain products for certain markets, or even say simply that we do international delivery, that's when we're going into clients, that's one of the biggest things on the websites. They don't even say international delivery on there. Make sure that it's easy for people to contact you, all these types of things. So make it look like you're open for business internationally when you actually come onto your website. So that's what I'm talking about there. And as I said, this out of the 7 billion people on the world, 1.75 billion have a working knowledge of English. So that's already a pretty large market if you can get that right. Then you have this decision point, which I was talking about before over here. So it's at this point you say, right, what am I going to do internationally? And there's a number of things that you can do on here. So the first thing is you can say, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my .com, and it has to be a .com. You can't do this on the .co.uk because what I was talking about before in that test, the .co.uk is already targeted to the UK, so you can't make it go internationally. So it's got to be a .com or another top-level domain. So you could set up country pages. Now you see why you want country pages, because you remember when we were doing that test, the first thing it was looking for was country pages. Okay? But the other thing that you can do as well is set up pages in another language. So for example, you can set up pages in French. If you set up pages in French, there are about 50 countries around the world that actually speak French. So if people have that setting on, I'm looking for pages in French, then it would pick those up, whether you're in Canada, in France, or some beautiful Caribbean island that speaks French as well. So those are two of your options, and it depends what you're trying to do with your business and what your products are, which of those options you take. That depends on your business strategy and your export strategy. The other thing you can do, as the gentleman over here has done, is set up local country domains. So you've set one up for India. You could set them up for Ireland, you could set them up for, Australia, for absolutely anywhere in the world. And then if you did that in the local language, that would appear in the pages from a country, in that test that we did. And if you had it, say, in French, it would appear in the pages in French page as well. Okay, so that's another strategy. The quickest way to actually get up into the local search engines, if you're working with agents and distributors, how many of you are working with agents and distributors? Just, not too many of you. But this can be one of the quickest ways of getting up there, because if you put your products on their websites that are already visible in those local search engines, then you can actually get up very, very quickly. It's sort of a really quick way of doing it. So those are sort of the 4 different ways, really, of going international on the web. Okay? I was going to give you a quick case study here. This is one of the clients that we've worked with. They're down on the south coast, and they make these beautiful, beautiful cashmere travel wraps. And she won a couple of awards really early on in the first couple of years of setting up, which was great for her, and she got a lot of press coverage. So she was like, wow, I think I'm going to go international, because she started to get a little bit of orders coming in. Right, what am I going to do with this? So she started to go international. And she set up her website, which is the travel wrap company there. And you can see on the right-hand side, they've got all the different flags of all the different countries that she started working with. So one of the first target markets she thought she would go for, because they speak English, and her product's quite light, so it's quite easy to send it internationally, was to go to Australia. So can you see, I'm in there, google.com.au, and you can see that her website is actually visible here. So she set up pages, a section of her website, au.thetravelwrapcompany.com. So she's visible there. And then when you click onto that, you don't come into her main website, you come into the Australian pages on her website. Okay? So she started within a week of having this set up, getting orders from Australia. So her first week she got something like 7 orders. So she was like, wow, so once you've got it set up, it can be that quick. And you can see why, because you're then visible in the search engines that you weren't visible in before. So she was like, right, this is going well. Where shall I go next? So she's been working with some PR agents offline, and she's decided, right, Germany's the way to go next. So she's gone to that market. It's a big market for her. And you can see here as well, she's showing up here under her German pages, de.travelwrap.thetravelwrapcompany.com. And that takes her through here. I don't know if you can see that from the back. It's dark on this screen, but that's actually all in German, this part of her site. And if you look at the top right there, you can see the little flag, and you can see she's selling in euros there as well. So that's what she's decided to do there. So she was struggling a little bit to get orders through from Germany, whereas the Australia thing, she just turned it on and thought, right, this is great. So we had a little look at what she'd done. So technically she'd set everything up correctly, like I was telling you about a second ago. And then we had a little look, and for those of you that know about search engine optimization, you've got to sort of put all your tags and, all your headings and everything into other languages in there. So she had done that. But the problem was with this is that nobody in Germany is searching for a travel wrap. Because it's, it's a very sort of English, if I said to you a travel wrap, you sort of know what I was talking about, but in Germany they had no idea. And over there in Germany, the word for it was poncho. Okay? But she said, this is my beautiful cashmere, Scottish cashmere wrap. I'm not calling it a poncho. But obviously, to get to the optimization, so they've this is her entry on a marketplace there, and they've actually called it like a wrap poncho. So she's like compromise, so she's got both of the words there. But it's got a good underlying story there, that you actually need to make sure that you've got the right terminology and don't just translate into the local language when you're going there to actually get the optimization. I was with a client this morning, and they do international development training, and when we were looking in the UK, it's so sophisticated over here, we're really into training over here, but then we were looking at some of their target markets like Bangladesh, and all they're looking for is like leadership training and project management training. That's all they're looking for. There's no other training that they're interested in. So you've got to really think about what you're doing when you go into other markets. So hopefully that shows just a real example of what happened there. So as I said at the beginning, one of the UK government's big pillars of growth is to get more people to export, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay.